Hello everybody, John Sheff from Tchefuncta Country Club here with another weekly swing analysis. We actually had two tournaments going on this week. We had the Dell Match Play Championship in Austin, Texas, which Jason Day won. He's now won back-to-back events just like Adam Scott did. He's won at the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill and now the Match Play. So he is on fire. He's moved to #1 in the world now over Jordan Spieth, so playing extremely well. And we had another event going on in Puerto Rico, the Puerto Rico Open, and Tony Finau got his first win there on the PGA Tour. So a great win for Tony. It was his rookie season last season. So playing some great golf, and he now moved after this past week to #1 in the world in driving distance. So averaging about 315 yards off the tee. That's averaging. So he absolutely crushes the ball, but he is 202nd in the world in driving accuracy. And what I did notice was that he's taking driver off the tee about twice as many times as Bubba Watson or Dustin Johnson or the next longest guy. So he's taken about 75 drivers off the tee, whereas Dustin Johnson and Bubba Watson, they've only taken about 35, 40 attempts. So almost double the amount. So I think if he really could dial it back a little bit, maybe hit 3-wood or hybrid off the tee a little bit more often, maybe find the fairway a little bit more, he might be at the top of the leaderboard more often. So let's take a look at his swing here. Obviously we've got face on and down the line. We'll look at the face on view here. I'm going to draw a couple lines and show you exactly what I like. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And first I'm going to draw a blue line that's going right along his hips, basically from hip pocket to hip pocket. I'm going to draw a yellow line along his shoulders, right shoulder to left shoulder, and I'm going to draw a red line that's going through what would be his spine, or pretty close to it. So first of all, you can see that the yellow line and the blue line for his hips and shoulders basically are parallel to each other, and they're both pointed up towards the sky. You can also see that the red line is tilted slightly back in this direction there, so he has a little bit of spine tilt away from the target, which makes sense because he's hitting a driver. The driver's teed up, the ball's teed up, I should say, and he's trying to launch this one high and in the air and actually hit up on it. Also, what really creates this setup is his ball position. You can see where his ball position is right there, basically off of his left heel. Now, a lot of people think, well, let me just put the ball off my left heel for the driver, and as that's a good starting point or a good place to begin, it might not be the best position for you. I see a lot of PGA Tour players that have it 6 inches back of where Tony has it, even a little bit forward of where Tony has it. So that's something you can play around with ball position to find really what creates the best shot shape that you're looking for. But that's his. Those are his setup tilts and alignments there. And what I'm looking for when I give lessons is I'm looking for all these tilts with the shoulders, the hips, and a little bit of spine tilt away from the target with the driver. A lot of that's created by the ball position, and a lot of it's created just physically by adjusting your body. And really that will then create his position at the top of the backswing. So a really good position there. What you're going to notice is that club, just like Jason Day, what I talked about last week, is not reaching parallel. And Tony is #1 in the world at the moment in driving distance. So you would think, wow, he hits it super far, he must have a super long swing. Not the case. A lot of people would argue and say, man, this club is only at 3/4 or whatever position you want to call it, but it's certainly not at what would be parallel. So is that a fundamental to get your club to parallel? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do you have to get your club to parallel to hit it far? Absolutely not, as Tony is showing us right here. And what I would like to talk about is shortening up your swing. I see a lot of people that are going out to the range. I ask them, what are you going to work on? They're like, well, I'm going to try and shorten up my swing. My swing's getting too long. And I ask them, well, how are you going to go about doing that? And they say, well, I'm just going to, stop my swing a little bit shorter of where I currently am. And usually when I give those kinds of lessons, and I'll take video, because I take video with just about every lesson, I'll say, okay, give me your normal swing. I'll film it. Their club is going we'll just say to parallel or just past parallel, and I'll say, okay, let me see your shorter swing. We'll film it. It looks identical. I'm telling you folks, it looks identical. So it is almost impossible to physically tell yourself to stop the club at a certain point during your golf swing when you're swinging 80 to 120 miles an hour like Tony Finau is. So there's got to be something else going on that determines the length of your swing with regards to the club. And most of the time, it is what the shoulders are doing. And I'm going to talk about this in both views, but I'll start talking about it here. You're going to see that his left shoulder starts to go down right there. It'll move a little bit laterally and then down right there. Rotates underneath his chin. A lot of you at home trying to hit the ball super far rotate those shoulders very flat. That left shoulder never goes down. It kind of goes up even. And that's when the swing can get very long, out of control, and you can hit the ball very inconsistently on the club face. But that alone is what allows Tony to get that club, leave that club short of parallel, and make a nice full coil. That left shoulder going down. You're going to see it in the view, the downline view here in a second as well. But overall, a great backswing. Reminds me a lot of Alvaro Quiros' swing. A little shorter, compact swing. Absolutely crushes it. Great footwork. Lateral move into his left side and then rotating through to a finish. Just a beautiful finish there. And this is something everybody can strive for, right? You don't have to be 6'3" and fit with a lot of muscle to work on your nice balanced finish position. Do it slowly. If you can get to this position here, then just work backward from there. So something very easy that you can work on, but you got to start small, 50% effort swings and build up from there, but focus on getting to this position right there with the right toe sticking in the ground. And if I was standing right behind Tony, I'd be able to see all the spikes on his right foot. So let's take a look at the down the line view over here. I'll zoom in a little bit. I can show you what I'm talking about. Once again, great setup, great posture. And what you're going to see with Tony is that here at about halfway back, we'll call it, if I drew a line right on his shoulders, on top of his shoulders, what you're going to see is that his shoulders will not lift above that line. They will continue to rotate on that plane as he gets to the top. Okay, so really when a lot of people get to this point, they'll lift that left shoulder, and that left shoulder goes up and away, and their shoulder plane becomes something that would look like, it would look more, flatter, more like this. That club would get long. Then they would have to re-tilt their shoulders to get back in the position they need to hit the ball solid, which causes a lot of inconsistencies. So Tony does a very good job rotating that left shoulder down. And I'm not going to give you an exact number because there is no exact number of how many degrees it needs to be tilted down or this and that. But with Tony, just take note of where his shoulders are pointed. They're pointed down towards the ground. They're outside the golf ball. Some teachers will say, I want you to point your shoulders inside the golf ball. That might be a better thought for irons, but for driver, nobody does it. So it might be a good feeling, but in reality, your shoulders will be pointed toward the ground, but it's going to be outside the golf ball. But they certainly will not be pointed flat or parallel to the ground at this point. Then he unwinds with the lower body and just absolutely rips it. So there's a couple thoughts there for you on what your shoulders are doing, what your left shoulders are doing, which will definitely help to shorten up your swing and make it definitely more solid and allow you to hit the ball more solid because it allows your shoulders to rotate on the proper plane. And if that's something you're trying to work on, shortening up your swing, most of the time this will fix that, but not all the time. So if you have any questions, let me know. And once again, my name is John Sheff. This is your weekly swing analysis with Tony Finau. And hopefully this helps to improve your game, but let me know if you have any questions.